Right Away with Craig Murray. For more information, visit cmurray.com. Equipped to write. There are a lot of people who think you can just jump in and start writing without any of the proper tools or equipment. What insanity! If you don't set yourself up right from the very start, how can you possibly expect to succeed? You can't just drop yourself down and start writing. Who do you think you are? At the very least, you need the proper writing implements. Personally, I would never even try to write without my Meisterstück platinum-coated Mont Blanc pen. It's only $865, which is an absolute bargain. Preferably, you'd use the writer's edition, the homage to the Brothers Grimm. It's only $1,585. And of course, the writing paper is just as important. My suggestion, you can only be using 100% cotton paper. Preferably Arches cold-pressed at about $50 a pad for 50 sheets. An absolute bargain. Yeah, okay, maybe no. What you actually need is a pencil and a pad. If you have nothing else, go to the local dollar store, get a box of HP pencils and a pencil sharpener. Wait, maybe 2 pencil sharpeners because you'll always lose one. And any one of many bound journals, a largest one, something you could comfortably write in. And there you go. You can be a writer. Admittedly, in this day and age, it's a lot easier to do it in the computer. You don't need any cutting-edge, high-tech, super-duper, top-of-the-line bit of techno-godliness. At the very least, if it can run Notepad or similar, you can type. If it can run a word processor like Word, even better. And a comfy chair. You really need a comfortable chair. You can only write as long as your butt is happy. When the butt is no longer happy, you can no longer write. So why am I telling you this? Because it's all part and parcel of various reasons you'll hear somebody hasn't started writing. It's part of the 1,000,001 excuses people make. When I was younger, I did the same thing. I'd write, but I don't have a typewriter. And then I had a typewriter. I'd write if I had an electric typewriter because it's a lot easier. And I had an electric typewriter and I still didn't write. But if I ever get a computer, then try to stop me. And then I had a computer and I didn't write. Then one day I finished reading a particularly bad book and I thought I could do so much better. I wandered around telling myself how much better a story I could have told. I did this until finally I said to myself, Craig, you got a choice to make. Either write a book or shut up and stop talking about how you could write a book. So I wrote one. No, you'll probably never see it because like a lot of first novels, it needs a lot of work to bring it up to my current abilities. It's not a terrible first novel, also not the best. But I did it. I stopped talking about doing it, I stopped debating about it, whining about it, and you can do it too. What you need to do is have an imagination and the actual willingness to do it. You might also need some help on how to write. Well, at least how to write well, and that's why I'm here. I tell everyone, writing is easy. Good writing is hard. And you have to be prepared for that. You have to be ready to accept criticism and learn from it, to take good advice and know what good advice is. Again, that's where I come in. Now I tell everyone this, and it causes absolute terror, horror, denial, and all sorts of other words you can look up in a thesaurus. This is what I tell them. Before you should even consider writing a novel, you should write 500 short stories. Okay, I'll wait for the screaming and gasping and sobbing to stop before explaining. There are 1,000,000 writers out there, or at least 1,000,000 wannabe writers, who think that you go from writing nothing to writing an 80,000-word novel and it's going to be good. Chances are it's not going to be good because you've never learned the basics. It's sort of like deciding you want to be a race car driver and you've never driven a car before, or you want to build a house and you've never swung a hammer. Start by writing short stories. This is where you'll learn and master the basics. The introduction, the conflict, the resolution. More importantly, you'll learn how to strategize your writing. You'll learn how many words you actually need. So you start writing short stories. At first, getting 1,500 words for the complete story is pretty hard to do. Then you get to 2,500 or 4,500 and it seems almost impossible. The new writer's rush is when you've told your entire story in 600 words and now you're staring at the page going, whew, okay, what's next? This is where you start to learn how to plot out the story and just as important, the word count. But you have to start with short stories. There's a very good chance that you'll not get to 500 stories before you're ready to start writing that novel. But if you set that as a goal, then you're going to work towards it. If you say to yourself something like, I'm going to write 10 short stories, then my novel, you're not really dedicating yourself to it. I have people who are in my weekly personal writers group, and I've tortured some of them for years. They write a new short story somewhere around 2 to 5,000 words every week. I mean every week. Some of them have done this for years, and if you think about it, that's 50 short stories a year that they're putting out. You see them going from very rough to very good. They learn, they grow, they change, and they become very good writers. I would say without any hesitation that my current group of students, if you want to call them that, are probably some of the best short story writers you'll read. I know that several have started novels, and you see the effect. The beginner mistakes are gone. The work is coming out far more polished, sounding far more expert than 99% of the stuff you read out there. But they're putting in the effort. They're making the commitment to be the best writers they possibly can. You can do this as well. You will do this. It doesn't come easy and it doesn't always come quickly, but if you want to do this, you will. Keeping your eye on the big idea of writing 500 short stories pushes you into the future. That's it. You're not going to be rushing yourself that you have to start the novel today. You've accepted this is a path of growth and learning and accomplishment. You will grow, you will learn, you will accomplish. One of the worst things that can happen is you lose your motivation. You lose your excitement because you started writing a novel before you're really ready to, and it's not working out the way you want it to. Don't become discouraged. Stop and get organized. Plan for that goal and take the necessary steps to get there. Write those short stories. Get useful and intelligent critiques. Ask for help. Get help. One of the things I do is I'll read someone's first page or even the entire short story for free and tell them my first impressions. The smart people appreciate it, even if it hurts. They understand it's a process. They understand that it takes more than just knowledge of words or really great idea. It takes skill like any other skill. The bad writers are the ones driven by ego. They don't want to hear it. They only want to be told they're wonderful and gifted and talented, and that's it. Okay, groovy. You're all those things. Feel better? Is that what you really want to hear? No, because you're better than they are. You're not writing based on your ego. You're writing because you're a storyteller. It's a wonderful thing. It really is. To create a world no one's ever seen before, to create people and situations and places that are fantastic and interesting, and the reader is just going to fall in love with and fall right into. This is what we do, making these incredible worlds. It's a process, and you can't be afraid of the process. You can do it. Short stories fall into a few categories. You have flash fiction that tends to be under 500 words. You have shorts between 2,000 and 5,000. Novellas go up to about 40,000, and the novel, of course, is around 80,000. But for all of them, every single one of them, you need that introduction, that conflict, that resolution. I've talked about this in another one of my talks, Intro Conflict Resolution. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. If you have listened to it, go listen to it again. Don't be afraid to pause for a moment. Just stop what you're working on and really consider if you've mastered the short story before trying the novel. Learn the basics, get good help, get good advice, because most of all, above everything else, I want you to produce the best story you possibly can. Now, go get writing.